Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, Humanity Matters Live, remembering Bill Cardille. We're going to find out a lot of things about Bill Cardille, but did you know that he's a superhero? Oh, you didn't know? You will later. So stay tuned to Humanity Matters Live, remembers Bill Cardille. And now, our co-host, Annette Mendel, is about to start things off.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Humanity Matters Live. Tonight we have a very special episode we want to bring to you. I hope you're tuning in. Remembering Bill Cardille. And tonight's producer and host is Albert Torcaso.
Thank you, Annette. Well, usually, I can be long-winded. Lord knows that's true. But tonight, we're going to focus in on hearing from everybody else. Don't worry, I will get my words in, and you will know for a fact by the end of this show that, in fact, Bill actually is a superhero. And make no mistake, I said is. You see, his body may be gone, but trust me, his spirit will always live on. With that, we have the honor of having a longtime friend, and I hate to say co-worker, but person that worked with Bill, Mr. Mark Barish. And to say that this is an honor to have him here would probably be an understatement of a few millennia. So without further ado, it's Albert's time to shut up, and we're going to go ahead and have either Mike or Annette or anybody ask the first question of Mr. Barish. Anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to know, when did you meet Bill Cardille? When did you guys first meet?
In person, or when did I start knowing Bill Cardille?
Yeah, when did you start knowing Bill?
Wow, that goes back to when I was 10 years old.
Nice.
Okay.
Long time ago.
I
I come from Long Island, New York. That's where I was born, grew up, and I was a big fan of professional wrestling. And I would watch wrestling when I was, again, 9, 10, 11 years old, enjoying it. And there was a guy that did the play-by-play from Pittsburgh, and I didn't know very much about this guy or about Pittsburgh or why the wrestling was coming from Pittsburgh. I just enjoyed it. But I did take note that Bill Cardille was the announcer, and that Bill Cardille was a unique announcer in that he had these phrases and sayings that he would use during the wrestling matches that I always enjoyed, and I tried to remember them myself. And to this day, I remember when Bill went to a commercial, "Don't go away because anything can happen," and it usually does. Or he'd say about one of the crazy wrestlers, he'd say, "He's one card short of a full deck." Things like that. And at 9 years old and 10 years old, I remembered these things.
Wow.
And so here I am in Long Island with a relationship with Bill just because I watch wrestling. Well, I grew up and got into radio and then got into television, and I traveled the country. I worked in Detroit, I worked in California, and I worked in Long Island, New York. And suddenly I'm asked to come to Pittsburgh to become program director at WPXI.
Nice.
So I get there and I start looking at the roster of people, and I look down, and lo and behold, the name Bill Cardille is
I
there.
know you were surprised.
And I said, "Is this the same guy that I used to watch when I was 9 and 10 years old doing wrestling?" Of course, indeed it was, and I made a beeline over to Bill Cardille and told him how he was my hero, that I idolized him and the job he did at wrestling announcing. And just a lot of fun to meet him and to tell him that. And then I said, "This is going to be great, Bill, because I'm going out to lunch with you many times, and you're going to tell me all about the wrestling that I used to watch when I was 10 years old."
Nice.
And of course, Bill, in his great giving manner, said, "Whatever you want to know, anytime, any place, we'll go and do it."
Okay. Well, actually, since we were not able to get Dr. Cyril Wecht, I know he had another engagement, and I will say this: he is one of my other heroes.
Me too.
Bill Cardille, Bruno Sammartino, and Dr. Cyril Wecht are my heroes.
Yes,
And
yes.
a few years ago, there was a lot of trouble with Dr. Wecht, and they were kind of doing what they were doing. And one of the things I said to myself was, I said, I'm going to get him on my TV show. I'll come up with a reason. And I was honored to have him. He's been on my TV show, this series, twice. And to have one of your heroes on your show, it's a very odd kind of a feeling. It's a great feeling, but it's odd. But let me just say this. Dr. Wecht is a very loyal man of integrity. He couldn't make it tonight. He wanted to, but, I got to give it up to him because the man does what he does, and he's not exactly 16. He's like 20 years old now, but hey, forget about it. But with that, Bruno Sammartino is another one of my heroes, but I'm not going to lie. Bruno, I like him a lot. Cyril, definitely, but Bill's definitely my superhero. So with that, we're going to get to that juicy little teaser, but before that, we're gonna have to do something, Mr. Barish. I'm sorry, but you came in on as a guest, but you're a TV and radio guy, so I see, you can probably see on the monitor that we have a call. I'm not answering it. I want the one and the only programming director, Mark, gonna take no BS from anybody, Barish, to answer the call.
All right. Well, on this tribute to Bill Cardille tonight, it's my pleasure to answer questions for anybody that calls. And we do have one person waiting and ready to ask a question, so let's hear. Caller? Hello?
Hello, caller.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. My name is Bob Kane. I live in South Tampa, and it's a pleasure to be on your station tonight. And I just wanted to let you know that Bill Cardille goes back into my past like forever. And whenever I was 10 years old, my friend and I would often wait in the afternoon for the broadcast, but the best ones when we came on at night. And I know everybody at the studio that was with Bill, and he is an institution. I could go on forever. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I miss my friend.
Oh, yes.
Very much. Bill, as you guys have noted already, was special, but let me tell you why he was special to me and my family. When you approached Bill after having not seen him for a while, and you go up and you say, Bill, how you doing? It's so good to see you. You look so good. He goes, well, thank you very much. How's your daughter doing? Tell me, is she still in school now? How's she doing? And I'd answer that question. And your son, how's he doing? He's a good-looking guy. Man, boy, he plays basketball? Oh, I knew he played basketball. He's such a good guy, such a nice-looking guy. And, how's your family? And how's this and that? And it was never about him.
No.
It was always about us, and that is a rare person to find that they are not interested in telling you about themselves. They want to know about you. And again, that is very rare to find a person like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Wouldn't you
I
agree?
agree completely.
I agree. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest, I find myself constantly having to realize that the whole reason why I ever started this series is about all of us. And frankly, I don't care what your beliefs are religiously, politically, I don't care your pigmentation, any of that stuff. For me, this whole series, what it's really about, Humanity Matters, means what it says and says what it means. And I think if we can be a lot more like Bill and get over our egos and get over our, I don't even know, lesser selves or the evils that we have inside us. Now, if we could be a lot more like our superhero Bill, I'll tell you what, we would not have the issues on this planet that we have. I'm going to call it to see him.
I'll tell you, Trump could take some lessons from Bill Cardille.
I don't want to get him into there. Please, let's not bring him in there, please. No. Cut that. You did not hear that. The jury has disregarded that statement.
I'm disregarding it because it's more like a horror story.
Well, I'm disregarding it because we're not going to have anything that's going to get anybody upset. But this is what I will say to Mr. Ball. First of all, thanks for calling in from Florida.
Yes.
And second of all, don't go anywhere, Bob. Let me just finish this thought. Don't go anywhere.
Go ahead.
I don't have a problem with any politician I have a problem with their actions. But let me just say this. I'm not in love with any political party or any candidate. I'm in love with doing what is best for our nation and, frankly, our nations. That being said, the day that we don't stand up for what is right is the day that we begin to die. And that is something similar to Martin Luther King has said. So what I will say to this whole purpose of this show is for the betterment. I don't want to bring up politicians because, quite honestly, this is not the time. This is to bring our superhero the respect he deserves.
Yes.
And you know what? And no offense, but if Donald or Clinton themselves called, I'd be putting them on hold, and I may not get to that call.
Well,
Presidents even.
I wanted to say,
Go ahead.
whenever Bill Cardille, his daughter contacted us on Facebook.
Yes.
And said to send greeting cards and get well to Bill. I made a very special one
I know.
that said, I hope you're getting better, and inside it said, you're scaring us to death.
I believe
I
that.
told him that how much we loved him, and I said that someone was trying to name a street after him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that
And
would
I
be
think
me.
that everybody should go forward with that idea because he is an institution. He and everything that he did for us when we were younger, he gave us good moral values. He never said anything bad.
No.
There was no swear words. There was real, pure, honest to goodness. Night of the Crawling Eye. Come on, The Crawling Eye, my first Chili Billy movie. Come on. And after that, you're hooked.
You're right about that, and you're right. I was definitely and still will be. I would like these are, and I hate to put anybody on the spot. So if I do, you can try to catch me on my bald spot. I have a big one now. This is what I want, Pittsburgh, and this goes to the mayor of Pittsburgh, all members of city council. No offense, your former place of business, Channel 11, hospitals. I don't care what you are, who you are.
And all my friends up there.
And all your friends. But ladies and gentlemen, we will do this. I'm not saying I want you to. Within 2 to 3 years, we will have a permanent name, parade, and or street for honoring Bill Cardille. Because let me tell you something. Forget about for a minute the weather, the WJAS, the 30, 40 years at Channel 11. Throw all that in the garbage for a minute. The studio wrestling. Just throw it away as if it never existed. Remember I told you he's a superhero? Well, here we go, Pittsburgh. Get ready for it. This man, named Bill Cardille, is a superhero. This man, along with his friend Jerry Lewis, helped to save untold thousands and even millions of lives, either saved and or extended or made their lives better. And I will tell you something else about Bill Cardille. And I believe, how's Maria's last name?
Julia.
Maria Shulio, or someone had this in the one of the articles. But I can tell you, Bill Cardille helped to give some of these children that had MDA and adults their last smiles, their last laughs. And because of his getting these donations, he saved lives. That is the definition of a superhero. And let me tell you, Pittsburgh, I'm a sweetheart. But let me tell you, Pittsburgh, if I don't see within the next 2 years, and I'm still breathing, 2 to 3 years, if I don't see something done, at least honoring this man in some form, I'm going to use my long-winded big mouth to do a whole year's worth of episodes on this TV show, because we will get something honoring this man. I'm not asking for it. I'm telling you. Just like I told Congress a thing or two back in the day, Pittsburgh, if we can do it for the Pittsburgh Penguins, we can do it for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we can do it for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, frankly, Pittsburgh, by Halloween, we need to have a Bill Cardille night and a Bill Cardille parade, and within 2 to 3 years, somebody needs to have a permanent wing or a plaque for Bill Cardille. If we don't get it, I won't have any here because you're going to make me pull my hair out my head. I don't have any now almost, but I'm going to have even less. So with that, I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But we're going to honor this man. Well, we can't honor him. Let me correct myself for a minute. We cannot honor this man. It's like Lincoln said at Gettysburg. We have our poor powers to honor him. What they have already done here takes away all that. I can't remember the exact words. The same thing with Bill. I don't think people realize the gravity of, imagine for a minute, give me a second or two, and I want to get back to Mr. Barish. Imagine for a minute, you are the parent of somebody that has MDA, muscular dystrophy. You have a prognosis for your child to live maybe 1 year, maybe 2. But because of all of the money that was raised nationally and in Pittsburgh, now that's extended. Now they actually may even have hope. That's a superhero. That beats Batman. That beats Superman, any man, any woman you can name. So for me, I don't know if anybody else on the face of this earth believes him to be a superhero. But for me,
I do.
in my right hand up to God, ladies and gentlemen, that man is a superhero, and he personally helped to save my life, which we will get to after our good friend Mr. Barish has to leave in about 7-8 minutes. But we will get to it. But what I will say, well, it depends on Mr. Barish. But let me just make it real quickly. One night, I'm watching Chiller Theater. What was that date?
January 17th.
And Bob, hang on to this. I want you to hear this.
January 17th, 1981
Okay.
at 1 a.m.
Okay. One night, I'm watching Chiller Theater. Okay, I just real quickly, I promise I'll get to George, John, Steve, Mike, everybody. And I didn't forget anybody here. And that, of course, Mr. Barish. But let Mr. Long-Winded for a minute. Now, here's the deal. I want you to picture this. Close your eyes if you have to. You're watching a movie. The Hills Have Eyes.
Nice.
They're breaking into somebody's house. Well, I think it was the trailer.
Yes.
Okay, they're breaking the, hold on now, this ain't funny, this is scary stuff. They're breaking into the trailer, in the movie. All of a sudden, my cat, and I'm gonna sound like a cat, so hold your ears, ladies and gentlemen. This is my cat. I told you I was a little bit different. My cat's like, screaming and hissing and everything. And I'm like, and she's sitting at the window in the kitchen and just going, and all this weird stuff. I'm thinking, will you shut up already? And I got mad at her. I was like, shut that blank up. And then I said to myself, no, Albert, you shut the blank up, okay? Because what I realized was something was going on. She had never acted like that before. So now I want you to picture this now. They're breaking into the house, right?
And you're watching Bill Cardille.
And I'm watching Bill Cardille, thank God. And they're breaking into this house in Hills Have Eyes on Chiller Theater. And at that time, my cat starts freaking out, original baby girl. At that very moment, a man was trying to break into my house. And he was at the porch, on the back porch, and she actually, because of Bill Cardille and my cat, original baby girl, actually what happened was they saved our life that night. So do I owe a lot to our friend Bill Cardille? You bet your potatoes. But before, and Dr. Weck's on the phone, so we're going to go break into Dr. Weck. We'll get to that story if we do. Dr. Weck, are you there? Hello, Dr. Weck.
You have no idea what at 45 minutes, I finally got to Western Avenue from my home there in Squirrel Hill. I came down Western Avenue, and I don't know. I couldn't move. I was absolutely. I finally went into a Sherwin-Williams big lot and turned around to the other side of the track. I'm sorry, Al. I apologize.
Don't worry about it, Dr. Weck. We were just speaking about you and how you're one of our heroes.
The best.
Well, I thank you, and I feel terrible about this.
You don't have to.
But I did my best. But I want to thank you for having invited me. It's my loss not to be there with you and the others to share these memories of Bill Cardille, who is truly one of our giants in Pittsburgh in our lifetimes, Al. Contributed so much. A gentleman in every respect, a keen wit, a wonderful sense of humor, and what he contributed in the field of the news media, his ingenuity, and I heard a little bit while I was waiting for you to take my call, you telling the story about, and that reminds me,
Yeah.
people going back those years with all of those spooky thrillers.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the wonderful days.
Well, Dr. Weck, my co-host wants to ask you a question, and he
Sure.
has something to say to you that you might be a little surprised, and it's not a
Okay.
bad thing.
Hello, Dr. Weck.
Tell him who
Hi.
you are.
My name's Michael McCutcheon.
Michael McCutcheon? How
Yes,
are you?
sir. Yes, sir. Can I tell you, Dr. Weck, that you were one of my heroes growing up? Do you hear me? I never had many heroes growing up, Dr. Weck, but you were the man that
I thank you, and now I'm doubly bad for not being
You'll
there.
be all right.
But you are the man I looked up to, Dr. Weck. There was a time in my life where I was taking criminology courses, and I would have to say, Dr. Weck, that you were one of the greatest forensic pathologists
Of
that
all
ever
time.
existed. You are the best.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned,
By
Dr.
the way,
Weck,
yeah, I just want to say, not the past tense, I did 3 autopsies yesterday and 2 today.
Oh, my.
And wrote a couple of medical legal reports and homicide cases, so it's still the present tense.
so you know what I would like to see, Dr. Weck? I know this sounds a little far-fetched, but why don't you run for president?
Yeah, I go with Weck for president of the United States.
I
Another
would
time,
too.
Another day.
But you're an awesome man, Dr. Weck.
Don't
You're an
we
awesome
wish you
man.
well, thank you. But this is about Bill Cardille.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
So Dr. Weck, and not to interject, but Dr. Weck, what are your memories of Bill? Did you ever get a chance to meet him in person?
Oh yeah, sure.
Could you tell us a little bit?
Several times, and I always enjoyed the conversations. I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, being with him on the radio station, and then meeting him at various functions and so on, and of course I know his son and daughter-in-law, or his daughter and son-in-law, I should say, and the family, the Rogal family. So, I got those connections too, and which makes me feel, again, that much more terrible about not being there. But I don't know it's hard to describe Bill.
Right.
This is a man who was unpretentious, never one to engage in braggadocio, never one to toot his own horn, but who really contributed so much in a solid and meaningful way, and who always was a gentleman in his conduct, in the way he comported himself, always willing to listen to somebody, and I don't know what more people like that seem to be fewer and fewer as we continue to move into the stage, into the era of technology. Bill Cardille was a man of more personal ingenuity, of personal invention, getting away from the robotics and so on. So those are the thoughts I would like to share, and I'm delighted that I've had the opportunity to do that.
Well, I
Thank
appreciate
for
you
giving
being
me
here.
these few moments. And again, my apologies to you and Michael McCutcheon and all the other people in the program. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Weck, and hopefully we can have you on another time
All right.
for another reason. But
We'll get there, and you'll give me the exact directions on, and maybe another time of day. I don't think I can ever get there at 6 o'clock in the evening with that traffic, but we'll work out something, okay?
all right, well, God bless you, Dr.
All
Weck.
right,
Thanks for
thank you.
calling
Thanks a
in.
lot. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, see
Drive
ya.
carefully.
He's just a fantastic person.
That's an awesome man. I can't believe I got to talk to Cyril.
You
Weck.
did.
That's awesome.
Well, you're going to
That's
again.
Awesome.
But in the
Thanks to Bill.
meantime, let's make sure we get to speak to our main man over here, Mr. Barry. So what we need to do is, did you get a chance to ask him a question? I think you did, right?
No.
Okay. Well, here's how we got to do. We only have about 5 minutes, so we want to get you to do a quick question, and then Steve, John, and George, if they can make it quickly enough, because the young man has to go pretty soon. We can't keep him like that, but I wish we could keep him for the whole hour.
Mine is just a simple question.
Okay.
Did you watch Chiller Theater? And if you did, how often did you watch it?
I was not in Pittsburgh while Chiller Theater was
Right.
on. When I arrived, it had been off the air about 1 or 2 years. But I did get a chance to look at the clips that we had, and I was the guy that said, Chiller Theater's been off the air about 3 or 4 years. Why don't we do a primetime special? Because I know how popular it was. And the rest of the people in the station said that was a good idea, we'd like to move forward. So I asked Bill, and he said, absolutely, I want to do this. And I put a couple of producers with him, and we all worked together and made 2 primetime specials, which for local television to preempt NBC for a special like this is a big deal. It is.
Yeah, it is.
And we did it twice. And we did it because of Bill's popularity and his comedic ability and all the things he brings to television when he's on that screen. We were happy to do it.
When did
What
Chili
year was
Billy
that?
actually date? I mean, when did it actually air for the first time? What year was that?
63, I believe.
Yeah.
I wasn't born.
I believe it's 1963.
I think you're right.
Wow.
And you may not know this, but when Saturday Night Live came on the air around the country, it did not air in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And the reason it did not air in Pittsburgh was the ownership of WPXI said, we know that there's a nice show and a funny show called Saturday Night Live coming on, but we have Chiller Theater there at 11:30 on Saturday night, and we're not getting rid of that.
Nice, nice.
Well,
And they stood up to NBC.
Yeah.
So we're not airing Saturday Night Live. So it wasn't until about a year or 2 until Saturday Night
Right.
Live came
You
into
bumped it to
Pittsburgh
11.
and got on TV.
Cool.
Well, real quickly, let's get our special guest co-host, Steve, to ask a question, and then he could turn it over to whoever's next to his right, because I'm not looking at the TV. I should be, but I'm not. All right, Steve, you're on.
All right, thanks, Alan. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're
And
welcome.
Mark, thank you for being here. And just one of the things that I've understood most, I'm a little young to have seen Chiller Theater. I'll tell about that later. But one thing that's impressed me a lot about him is his willingness to embrace technology, like just the way that he was on TV in the beginning when nobody knew what TV was. I mean, he was front and center. He was behind the cameras. He was producing. He was on the camera, and just his willingness to embrace technology when so many people want to just discard it and say new stuff's no good. Has that rubbed off on? Now I know you're probably younger too, have been around that, but just probably a lot of your peers, some of your people that got you into the business.
Business has changed so much. It's not nearly what it used to be. And that's good, and then that's bad. It's bad in the way because we don't give people like Bill Cardille opportunities to do what they do on television anymore because we get our shows from NBC and then we'll buy syndicated shows like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy,
Right, exactly.
Judge Judy, and those shows take up the time slots. There's no more time to experiment with somebody like a Bill Cardille,
Yeah, right.
who was groundbreaking back then. And you may not know how Chiller Theater actually started, but he told me this story, and I didn't know it, but he was asked by management of the station to do intros to movies, to horror
Right,
movies on
yeah.
Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And so they just said, Bill, what we want you to do is say, we're coming back with The Bride of Frankenstein, stay tuned. Things like that. So Bill said after a while of doing that, he got bored. And he said, I kind of hammed it up a little bit, and I said, stay tuned. Next is The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes,
and he
about
did it in
like-
sort of a harsh kind of voice. And management heard that and said, that's kind of cool, can you do a little more of that? And he built on that and built on that and then told stories in that voice, horror stories in that voice. And finally they said, we think you're able to host a whole show called Chiller Theater, would
Right.
you do that? And he did. So it was really an interesting way he got started, just by a line saying, next up is The Bride of Frankenstein. And that got Bill on TV doing Chiller Theater.
Well, real quickly, I'm going to put George to work before he gets to ask his question, and I hope we get to you. But we have another caller, so we need George to actually get this call.
Yes, caller, come in. Hello?
Okay, this is Diane.
Diane.
To all the guys back there, how many guys there know, I ever met Bill Cardille?
I've met him one time. And
I met him.
He's a friend of mine.
I met him at the Monster Bash.
I've never met him.
Me neither. Me neither.
That's all right.
I loved him though.
We won't
I
hold it
loved him.
against you,
I
y'all.
loved him. I loved the man. I loved him.
So ask your question of anybody here. Hopefully it will be Mr. Barry's question, because
All right, here.
I appreciate him being here.
Mark Barry,
Barry's.
how many years did you know Bill Cardille?
31 years I worked with Bill Cardille.
Nice.
That's a good
Very
amount of
nice.
time.
And he was one of my favorite people at the station. In fact, one of my favorite people in Pittsburgh.
Do you live in Long Island? Do you live in Long Island, New York now, or are you live in Pittsburgh now?
I live in Pittsburgh. I moved here 31 years ago, and I've worked here I worked until a year ago when I decided I was going to retire.
Now that real quickly, why did you retire? You're a young guy. So why did you make yourself retire?
It's sometimes when you do something for 31
Yeah.
years, it can get a little bit
Boring?
Monotonous.
monotonous, I guess is the
Yeah,
right
that's
word.
all right.
And so what I decided to do was stop doing the things that were monotonous, and
Mm-hmm.
in semi-retirement, I'm doing the things that I want to do, that I find challenging and fun and different.
Okay.
For instance, this past Saturday night, we televised to Cuba a boxing match between kids from Pittsburgh
Wow.
and kids from Cuba.
I
Yes,
met some.
yes,
I
yes,
accidentally
yes.
almost met the Cuban team because they were at the West Mifflin / Lebanon Church Road.
Okay.
They had gone to McDonald's, and it was really loud. We walked in there, and unfortunately, I didn't know. And then after they left, they told us all those guys are going to be boxing on Saturday. I said, mother Fritos, I could have interviewed them. That's
It was
amazing.
quite an event, and one of the highlights, I think, of my broadcasting career was to televise these matches that
Yeah.
were held on the Roberto Clemente Bridge.
Nice.
You're
And
kidding.
we televised them to 6 million Cuban
Wow.
people
Nice.
that
Wow.
saw this Saturday night.
So
Very nice.
real quickly, do you have a different company? I mean, I know we're not allowed to advertise, but let's put it this way. How do we get in touch with you without, well, we don't want to break the rules, but how can people find out more about you? Put it that way.
Well, if anybody goes into LinkedIn.com,
Okay.
they can find me and contact me. if
'Cause
they'd
I would like to know
ask
about
a
that.
question or two. I'm on there, as are many business people. It's a
Okay.
great way to.
Yeah,
it's sort of
I'm
a
on
Facebook
LinkedIn
for
myself.
business people. So
Yeah.
I'm on there. Many people
I'll
are
have to-
too.
I'll have to
I'd be
do
happy to answer
But
any
do you have a
questions.
website that you, I mean, what's your company that did this?
It's
thing?
just me. No, actually,
It's just you. He's Superman. Hey.
I worked with, on this project, the guy that actually came up with the idea is a former state representative, Mike Diven.
Okay.
And Mike came up with the concept of trying to get Cuba to come to Pittsburgh
Okay.
to box. And when he told me he had it, and he said he wants to put it on TV, he asked me if I'd arrange
Wow.
that. So that's what I've been doing for the past 5 or 6 months, is getting this ready
Wow.
for TV. And it came off on Saturday night despite the rain, and we were very happy to do it.
Now, did any of the Pittsburghers win?
Yes.
Yes! I'm glad we won at least a couple.
The Cubans won 7 bouts and Pittsburgh won 4. So that's
Okay.
not too bad.
Not too bad.
The Cuban boxing team is
Yeah.
considered among the best in the world
Wow.
every
Right.
year.
Yeah.
You're going to see them in Rio during the Olympics,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't doubt they have a gold medal in there
I
somewhere.
believe it.
So,
Well, real quickly, I know that you're supposed to leave like 3 minutes ago, but do you have time for a question from George and John? Fast,
real quick, yes.
Yeah, really quick, guys.
Well, if I were to ask a question, how many episodes of Chiller Theater were there altogether? Like, altogether, how do you maybe know?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
All I know is it was on for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, every Saturday night, so you can do the math.
Nice. Nice.
All right, my question,
Yes.
real quick.
Yes.
In the 31 years you knew him, what would you say was the best part of Bill?
Well, one of the things I admired about Bill was he never got nervous or flustered or anything on television.
Yeah.
You tell him what you need to get done, no problem, boom. And he'd rip up, I do this, get it all done. And then I said, okay, Bill, we're done with that. Now I want to change this. I don't want to do it this way, I want to do it this way. No problem, Mark. He'd go out, bing, bing, bing. He'd nail it every time. He was a true professional.
Yeah.
And that's what I admired as a producer, an executive producer at a TV station. You admire people that can just do what you have in your mind, and you explain it to them, and they knock it down 1, 2, 3. And Bill was that kind of guy.
Can I tell you something, man? That was the only thing that ever brought my entire family together was the Chili Billy show. I swear to you, every Saturday, all of the McCutcheons would get together, sit around and watch Chili Billy. That was good old days there, man. But like, what's one of your fondest memories of Bill Cardille?
Oh, wow. There are many, but I'll tell you a quick story about Bill. When I came up with the concept of Jackpot Bingo, which was an interactive bingo game that people could play at home and win prizes.
remember that.
And win up to $50,000. When we came up with this concept, we asked Bill to be the host because I wanted a guy that was trustworthy, noteworthy, and that felt comfortable calling a bingo game. So Bill was that person. One night, probably about 3 months into the game, we started getting calls from people that said, looks like Bill is cheating. He's got the ball and he's got the wrong number and he's putting it up his sleeve. And people would be calling me telling me that he was cheating. And I couldn't imagine how anybody could think Bill Cardille would be cheating, but I had a problem. I had to solve it. I had to deal with it. So what I did was I thought about this and I said, right down the street on Suffolk Avenue is St. Boniface Church. And there was a priest there named Father Norbert. And I said, I'm going to call Father Norbert to come down and supervise the game and tell everybody that there's nothing going on here shady. So I called Father Norbert. I said, I want you to be my bingo priest. And he said, that would be fun. I'd like to do that. Right. So he comes up and Bill meets him and is happy to have him there because he doesn't want anybody to think he's cheating. So we play the game of bingo and it goes on all night. Father Norbert's there and he asks a couple of questions. He says hi to the crowd. At the end of the game, Bill says, so Father Norbert, everything on the level tonight? Any funny stuff? He goes, nothing on funny stuff. Everything was perfect. Bill, you did a great job.
Cool.
And we went home knowing that people who thought Bill was cheating, they got him told that he does not cheat. Bill Cardille would never cheat.
Nice.
And Father Norbert confirmed that. So that was kind of a fun time for us.
Cool.
Well, I know you have another engagement, but I do want to keep in contact with you. And you know, it was an honor to meet you.
Yes, Mr. Baird.
And you guys, it was great meeting all of you. And it's nice of you to come down to the show.
And
I wish you all. Thank
We'll
you
see
very
you
much,
again.
Annette. I wish you and Al great things for the
And the
show.
next time
You're
you're doing
welcome
an
to come
event, let
on
me
any
know.
show in the future.
All right, well, you
Yeah.
invite me and I'll be there.
All right, God bless you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Barrett.
Bye. Now,
Good night, everybody.
Drive
Good night, everybody.
carefully.
Thank you.
Now, Doug, you can go ahead and run that tape reel with the Bill Cardille and friends, and then we'll come back and we'll keep talking to our people calling in and our people.
Hello, everyone. I'm Annette Mendel, co-host of Humanity Matters Live, and tonight's episode is Remembering Bill Cardille, Chilly Billy. And tonight we want to thank those who contributed their materials of their experiences with Bill Cardille. We're going to begin with Cindy Nemchik, Danielle Perina's mother, who sent us a picture of her daughter who was 11 years old when she took a picture with Bill Cardille. And Rich Webb, who took a picture with Bill at one of the Monster Bashes. And Chris DeLuca, who sent in music like the Chilly Billy Vamp and Chiller Theater theme and other music. And Nancy Kovac, who took a picture of with Bill Cardille at the Hollywood Theater in Dormont in 2007 with her friends. And Donna and Donald Dunkel, who sent in the last script of Chiller Theater. So thank you very much for contributing these materials.
Chilly Billy is my name. Chilly Theater is my.
Well, we're back. Okay, we have another call waiting, so this time, I think it's time for John to answer it, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Hey, caller, you're on air.
Hello, hi, it's Mish from the Mish Connection. Hi, Al, how are you?
Hey, Michelle, Mish, how you doing? The Mish is in the house.
Hi.
How you doing, Mish?
I'm doing well. I wanted to give my love to Billy's family.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. So, Mish, did you ever get a chance to see anything that Bill did?
Yes, I got to actually view a lot of programs, a lot of episodes from the Chiller Theater.
Oh, could you tell us any stories you might have?
Yeah, well, actually, I was looking into old episodes on YouTube, so it's never too late to actually witness his greatness. So I actually personally thought it was absolutely hilarious, and his smile is infectious. So I'm glad. To have actually not only met him once in the past, but also still have an opportunity to still continue to enjoy his show.
Nice.
Yeah, you know what? You'll have to send me some of those links, because I found some stuff with him on YouTube and other places, but not quite what I'm looking for. If I can get it, I will. But I will say my favorite skit that he would do was Chilly Billy Silly. And then my second was always The Strange But True. I don't know if you remember any of those skits.
I do.
Oh, you remember that?
Yes.
That's Chilly Billy Silly. I don't even want to go there. So,
I have it right here.
okay, well, hang on to that. So, Mish,
Record.
when are we going to get lucky enough to have the famous Mish back on TV here?
Oh, well, then maybe soon.
Okay, well, let me do some breaking news for a half second here. I want you to know, now I don't know if you're interested in being on here, but next month we are going to try to kill something. Yes, I said kill, as in murder. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, don't fall off your chair. We're going to do some killing if we can help it. Hey, I'm Italian, so I'm good at, nah, I'm just kidding. Don't worry, you're going to want to kill this. That's what we're trying to do, is to get enough attention. We're going to work on killing cancer. That's right. That's right. I want to whack cancer. Anybody agrees with me that we need to get rid of cancer?
Yes.
Just let me have a heck yes.
Yeah.
Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that cancer killed our buddy Bill Cardille. He might have died of pneumonia, but it was really the cancer that caused it. So Mish, if you're free in September, we could use you and your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice to help us to get rid of that cancer if we can help it. So, any chances we could get the famous Mish?
Oh, we can definitely look into it.
All right, let's look into it. But I don't think Pittsburgh knows how good you are at singing, but we'll save that for another episode. And you say you met Bill. Tell me, what was it like meeting Bill?
Actually, only once in passing. I was actually in high school, and we were coming to visit another show at the time to sing. And the host at the time did introduce us.
Oh.
And let us watch one of his shows.
That's cool. All right, well, we have another call, Mish, so we'll talk to you soon. I will email you, whatever you know to. And by the way, I cut off all my hair, and yeah, I actually did it. We won't go there. It was actually completely bald. It's coming back. But I did this in support of showing solidarity for people that have cancer and, of course, for Bill. So that's why I got rid of my comb over. Trust me, I wish I had my comb over, but I want real hair, but hey, forget about it. So I want to thank you for calling in, Mish.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll go to the next call, and I think you're up. Thanks, Mish. Okay, good.
Caller,
Yes.
you're on. Caller.
Yes, it's Nora.
How you doing,
Oh,
Nora?
hi, Nora.
I'm doing fine, and I do like your haircut.
I don't. Hey, we won't go there, but thank you.
Well, I want to tell you that I met him 3 times. And the last time was with you, and we were at the Italian festival, and he was with the great wrestler.
Yeah, Bruno.
Yes. Do you remember that?
You know what? I don't remember that one for some reason.
Well,
I remember
I have a
meeting Bruno.
picture, and I think I have a little video of him.
Oh, cool. We can put that on in the future.
Yes. And I want to let you know how great he was. In 1980, I went to a warehouse sale, and he was there, and he was giving away prize. So he asked for someone with a staple gun. So I had one, and I reached in my pocket and pulled it out. There was a 10 speed bike. And so he told me to come up. Well, my daughter Ellen, only 7, ran behind me. So I said, oh, this is too big for her. I'll have to give it to my nephew. Bill Cardille looked at Ellen and said, she'll grow into it.
I believe
I
it.
just hugged. So that's my sport, Bill Cardille.
We're kind of losing you. Can you get a little bit closer to the phone, Laura? We didn't hear that last part.
Oh, okay. Is this better?
Yeah, but we didn't hear the last couple
Okay.
things you said.
So Ellen came up with a one tear in her eye. Bill told me that Ellen will grow into it.
Oh, there you go. That sounds like Bill.
And he gave the bike to her, and she took this big 10 speed.
Well, you want to hear something funny that will make you laugh? I made you maybe cry. Okay, well, let me finish that, quickly finish that story, because then I want to get Steve, George, and John in here to ask their questions, but I got to quickly finish that story. So that night, when the guy was trying to break into my house, I was 12 years old. The guy was taller than my friend Michael over here, and I'm 12 years old, and don't ask how I became Superman for a day, but I was. So I opened up the door because the guy's on my back porch, and I was saying words, and let's just say they were Z change. It's like more like Eddie Murphy, raw. But at any rate, I was like, come on in, you mother Fritos, and Fritos wasn't the word I was using. Come on in! And I'm 12 years old, this guy's tall, and meanwhile I had this big butcher knife. I mean, it's a big mofo. And I said, come on in, mother. And I'm 12 years old, right? I bring this guy in. I literally bring him in. Like, I don't know how I did it. And I said, come on, you mother Fritos. And I said, oh, you won't come to my house, you mother. And I was worried about my cat getting out, too. So I said, my cat gets out, you are dead, some. So I took this guy at 12 years old, and I don't know how. And I threw him physically off my porch. And I said, come on back, you son of a, and you'll be a dead mother. And he was gone. Now, because of my cat, and because watching Bill Cardille, my sister and we didn't get killed. Now, this guy actually broke into my house successfully twice.
Wow.
And two more times. I believe he was a neighbor. But one time he broke into my house, and same thing, kind of similar thing happened. He was trying to, let's just say, hurt my sister. I threw him out again. But my cat was like a super cat anyway, original baby girl. And that's another episode. But I can tell you, if I had not been watching Chiller that night, my sister probably was going to be the R word. And who knows what else. But honestly, I do not, to this day, I don't know how I did this. Because the man was, I don't know, he had to be about 6'5", 6'7".
Wow.
He was a tall mofo.
Wow.
And
Well, you know, Al,
I did it. Because of
Bill
Bill
taught
and my
you
cat.
how to be
Thank God.
efficient.
Yeah.
And he taught Ellen how. So she,
Oh, yeah. You don't mess with Ellen.
but she was so little, but she loved him.
Yeah.
And he loved her when he looked at him.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So
yes.
thank you for speaking about Bill today.
Well, you know, I can be long-winded, but it's time for me to shut up. But before we go, I will tell you a funny story where, let's just say, Bill could have cussed me out. Yes, he could have cussed me out, but he didn't, but he could have. So with that, I'm going to leave y'all hanging, and we're going to go right to our special guest host, Steve B. And then he's going to pass it on over to whoever's next to his right, which looks like, okay, I'm going to cheat. It looks like John. So hurry up there, young man. Start saying something because we have like 10 minutes.
What would you like me to say?
I don't know. You your own man.
Well,
Talk about Bill. Talk about your red tie. I don't know.
I was
It's a nice tie.
I was too young to know much about the Chiller Theater, except there was one time, because it's funny what a young man recollects. You know, I don't remember all kind of things, but I do remember one time I must have been 4 or 5 years old, and I woke up, way after bedtime, and I went into my parents' room, as sometimes I would, and they had fallen asleep with the television on, and I sat there and I watched this monster movie.
Okay.
It had, and I wasn't scared, because I'd watch the. What do you call it? The Abbott and Costello had the monster movie when I was a kid. That came out.
Frankenstein and
yeah. So I wasn't like freaking out. I was just sitting there watching this werewolf and this vampire kind of fighting each other and all that. And it's funny, some things just get seared into your head, and that was on Chiller Theater.
There you go.
And I'm telling you, I was only 4 or 5 years old, but I still remember that.
Well, I'll tell you what, any movie on Chiller was all right, except for The Hills Have Eyes after what happened.
Yeah.
But at any rate, let's go ahead and go right next to, and I appreciate it. And in the cancer episode, if you're able to make it, you will have more time. And anybody that wants to come is invited to be a guest to talk about any terrible experiences, but we're gonna work on getting rid of cancer. And can we do it? Yes, we can. By the way, I said that before our president, by the way, officially, but that's in our story. So let's go with, I believe it's John.
Yep, that's me.
All right, give your full name, state your full name for the audience.
Hey folks, I'm John Kiger. And well, I don't know the man directly. I didn't know Big Chili Billy Cardille, but at least not directly. The first time I saw Chili Billy Cardille, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, it was a get-together with the family, and my family, somehow, my mom, I guess, met with him, and they produced one of 2 of the volumes with Night of the Living Dead on it.
There you go.
Not only that, but he was generous enough to give us a autographed script of the entire volume.
Wow.
Next year, for Christmas, I believe my mother got the 2nd volume with a autographed script as well. And I have to say, when watching the show, it was definitely groundbreaking. I have to say, he was quite a character, very, very animated, and in the movies he would put on during that. They were very classic, I would say, very classic.
Oh yeah. So let's hear from George real quickly, and then I have a couple of wild stories to tell you, and I do mean wild.
Well, I only met him one time, but that was 2010. I remember I was at the Horror Realm convention. I went there. We're horror fans, We went. I was just there. I didn't know him yet, but I went. I went there because he was there. He's the main reason I went. I remember when I met him, one thing I told him was, I kind of regret being born this generation because I didn't get to see Chiller Theater.
Right.
Yeah, it was a nice experience. It wasn't too expensive for an autograph compared to a lot of the other autographs I'd go out, which were $20. He charged his a reasonable price, $10. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that. We talked a little about studio wrestling. We talked a little bit about Bruno. I met Bruno as well, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just, that's actually the one time I met him, though. That's the only time I met him, and not to me, he was a cool guy.
Yeah, he was. Nice.
Yeah, he was always
a lot of things.
Well, if you don't mind, a long-winded man telling you some interesting things that you might get a kick in the pants on.
Oh, by all means.
So, we already know how he saved my life, and that was a very serious thing. Right. But what we didn't know is, and I wasn't even going to share this, but in 1976, I watched my biological dad, essentially get killed in front of my face by a drunk driver, and that was before Mothers Against Drunk Drivers existed. And so, 76 was a really bad year. I watched my dad get killed. I almost got killed with him. Had it not been for my mother, I would have been dead. And then that same year, 2 of my aunts died. And then also, I have a very serious medical issue with my heart. So, but I'm good to be on TV, so hire me, people. At any rate, and I'm wild, so I'll get you paid. But that's another story. But seriously, I have an issue that they told me that I could never fight. Well, I quit going to school, and so in 1976, I lost my dad, I lost my 2 aunts, and I was ripped apart from my mother. So let me tell you, Chiller Theater was like the only thing that I had to look forward to. And because of that, I did not lose my sanity. I mean, look like I don't have a brain. I mean, look crazy, but I'm actually not. Bill Cardille is a superhero. That goes without saying. Now, we have 5 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I'm going to give you some interesting stories. Now, I said earlier there was a time when Bill could have cussed me out, and it really happened. I was downtown in Pittsburgh, and I happened to see Bill Cardille in a car. And I yelled, "Hey, how you doing, Bill?" And I said, "Is that your wife? How's your wife doing?" And it turned out to be, you ready for this? Norman, the guest. It was Norman. And Norman looks out the window, and Bill looks out the window, and like this, and we all started cracking up. I said, "Man, if he didn't cuss me out then, you ain't never gonna get cussed out." It was hilarious, but it was so funny because I couldn't see the person. I just seen long hair, so it's kind of like that song, "Dude Look Like a Lady," you know. So I said, "Hey, Bill, how's your wife doing?" And it was Norman, so I thought that was hilarious.
Norman the midget?
Yeah, no, the other guy, Norman. It was so funny, and he just looked at me like, oh, it was priceless. But then, now, to give you an idea who Bill is, real quickly, and I can do this in like a minute.
I have to thank people.
Real quickly, give me 30 seconds. I was at an event filming boxing, ironically, and Bill Cardille and Bruno happened to be there, and I'm filming, and I'm like, I'm not going to bother them, you know, I'm doing my thing. All of a sudden, I had a break, and somebody taps me on the arm, and it's Bill Cardille. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, "Hi, Bill, how you doing?" And he takes me over to meet Bruno. And I'm thinking, damn, 2 of my heroes actually came over to say hi to me. I mean, that's Bill. So, like I said, and I know you only have 30 seconds or whatever, so you get that in. If I have to be the most long-winded, meanest mofo on the face of the earth, ethically and legally, and get on your last nerve, and even a hospital can't give you a nerve transplant, Pittsburgh, we will have a parade for Bill Cardille. Pittsburgh, we will have something permanent for Bill Cardille, or else you're going to have my mean face after midnight letting you know that Eddie Murphy ain't the only one that knows how to cuss. And with that, we will hand it off to Annette real fast.
Yes,
She's got some quick names, and we got like about 10 seconds.
Yes, we would like to thank those who sent in material of their experiences with Bill Cardille. We'd like to start out with Cindy Nemchik, Danielle Perino's mother, who took a picture with Bill. Danielle took a picture with Bill at 11 years old.
Okay.
And Rich Webb took a picture with Chili Billy at one of the Monster Bashes. And Chris DeLuca gave music.
All the music that we
All
used.
the music that we used, like the Chili Billy vamp and the Chiller Theater theme. And Donald and Donna Lynn Dunkel gave the last script Chili Billy ever did.
And don't forget Nancy.
And Nancy Kovac gave pictures of her experience, her time with Bill at the Dormont Hollywood Theater in 2007.
Cool.
And before we go, and I want to thank everybody here. Hi everyone, El Torcaso here. Yes, we just got done filming Remembering Bill Cardille. There was a few other people that I forgot to thank because unfortunately, when you get all that busy, you sometimes forget stuff. And because I'm the oldest man in the universe, don't forget. I'm the oldest soul in the universe. Don't believe me? Well, we're going to have to talk. But at any rate, in all seriousness, and I was serious about that, but I want to thank Councilwoman, City Councilwoman Darlene Harris for being so kind as to send a representative to, acknowledge Bill Cardille and to come to, Humanity Matters Live, Remembering Bill Cardille. Now, the thing about it is, a young man named Jeff, and his last name starts with an M. I thank you for sending Jeff M. And since we did not get this on the original broadcast, on the internet within the broadcast, this insert will be there. Therefore, we will thank both the councilwoman, thank Jeff, and then there's a young man named Frank. What is his last name?
Ellsworth.
I want to also thank Frank Ellsworth for all that he has done. And for any of you that I may have not thanked, thank you in advance. Real quickly, we did not get enough time to do Bill Governor Wolf. I'd like to see, obviously, County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, Mayor Peduto, and of course all members of council acknowledge him. And let's have a huge day. Let's have a day that Pittsburgh will never forget. Let's have a parade, maybe some fireworks. You know, Bill was an Italian heritage. Maybe we can even do it next summer. But let's do something for Bill. Because let us remember that Bill, through his efforts in MDA, literally helped to save lives. Literally, and I spoke about this before, gave some people their last smiles of their lives, their last laughs. Or Bill would just make you feel important. You know, I didn't get a chance to say this, so I'm going to say it now. I was a Halloween guest 3 times on Chiller Theater. To give you an idea how wonderful Bill was in real life, there was a Halloween costume party. At that time, it was in Penn Hills. It was called Castle Drug. And we had a contest. And if you won, you got to be on Chiller Theater. And it was a Halloween contest. Well, guess what? I didn't win. But Bill invited me up anyway. And boy, I'll tell you what, Bill's a superhero to me. And Chiller was like, wow. And Bill let me go up. And I was there 3 times. So we got to honor this man. Now, I don't know if you're a member of City Council. We did not get enough time to do Bill justice. So on Thursday, on Talk Shoe, like you're wearing your shoes, TalkShoe.com, Humanity Matter podcast, we're going to have an audio-only podcast that you can call in, 724-444-7444. And the ID is something like 42821. We got to wrap it up. Call in on, and we will get you on. We got to go, Dora. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
You're breaking
up. I'm sorry, Nora. We didn't hear you, but thank you. But everybody, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And remember that you, as humanity, and all forms of life, really does matter.